Makeup Forever Watertone Foundation. This is the baby we're going to be trying out today. Now, what is Watertone Foundation? If you've been a long-time fan of Makeup Forever, you may be familiar with their face and body foundation from years and years ago. I used to love that stuff. I had like 2 or 3 bottles before they discontinued it and replaced it with the last version of their Watertone foundation. Can't quite remember the name, but I didn't like it as much as the first version because the first one was really buildable and really quite transfer resistant, and it reminds me very much of MAC Face and Body in the way it looks, except that it built a little bit better than MAC Face and Body. Now, I didn't love the second version of it because it just didn't build as well as the original, so this one is the 3rd generation version of that water-based formula, and we're gonna see how it wears, whether it builds up, how it looks today. Very quickly going through the claims. This is a transfer-proof foundation. It's supposed to give you 24-hour hydration, and it gives a light to medium coverage for a natural glow. Ingredients are 94% natural origin, and 78% of this is water-based. There are no animal-derived ingredients if you are into vegan makeup. This is completely oil-free, and you do need to shake it up before use. Mine sounds a little bit strange because I added 2 or 3 little metal ball bearings like those you find in nail polish bottles inside there just to get the shaking a little bit quicker. It does not contain any oils, and it has a very strange kind of like putty texture, which some people might find a little bit strange. It may go on slightly streaky if you're using a brush or a sponge. This is the 3rd day that I'm trying this, and I will say using my fingers to rub it on is my favorite way of applying this. It just gives the fastest and most seamless blend. Same with MAC Face and Body Foundation. The brand did launch a Watertone blending sponge to go with this. That is a great sponge on its own. I will use it with other foundations. I'm just not sure I love it with this one because this has so little coverage to begin with that you really don't want anything soaking up or removing any of the pigmentation off your skin. That's it. It's my personal preference. I just like to go on with my hands with this one. Now, full disclosure before I begin, I did record a try on last week. The first time that I was trying this on, I was using the Watertone sponge, and as I was trying to build up a little bit more coverage to see, you know, just how well this could build on itself, the foundation actually started to peel right off my face. So it has only happened that once. It might be to do with the sponge, it might be the skincare that I was using that day. I did hear back from a Makeup Forever trainer, and she was saying that you have to be careful when using this with oil-based skincare or some silicone-based primers, which is almost all primers on the market right now. Almost all skincare contains some silicones, so I think the safest way to go about this is to go get a sample of this if you can. Make sure that it's sitting with your favorite skincare and primers properly before you splash the cash on a full bottle. Now, this comes at 65 Sing dollars for 40 ml. It's 10 milliliters more than the regular foundation bottles. However, I don't think that the 10 extra milliliters is going to go a really long way because most of the people I spoke to who have tried this were going on with 2, 3, 4 pumps just to try and build up some coverage. This is very, very, very light coverage, so you will likely end up using a little bit more than you would with a regular foundations. Just bear that in mind. There are 20 shades available in the US, which is not a whole lot of shades compared to a lot of other foundation ranges these days, but the coverage is so light that the shades are very, very forgiving. Now, I was provided with a Y225, which is technically a little bit lighter than I would usually wear, but you will see when I apply it later that it just kind of blends into your skin. It's extremely forgiving if you're just a little bit off. Now, the bad news is that there are only 6 of those 20 shades available in Singapore, so unfortunately you may need to find this from other sources if you want to try it out and you have very deep skin tone. Now, the bottle does come with a special weld cap. You can use the top to hold your foundation when you are blending. It just makes life a little bit easier. Now you can tell me if you see any difference just off camera. In the mirror, I'm not seeing any difference between either side of my face at all. So the coverage, even after trying to build it up 2 or 3 times, it's really almost non-existent. So if you want something ultra natural that's not really going to look like makeup or change the way your skin looks, you know, in a significant way, then this may be something for you. Otherwise, I still kind of feel like going without foundation might be a quicker and more convenient way to go about this. In the interests of experimentation, I am only going to be wearing this foundation on one side of my face, which is here. At the end of the night, when I do a check-in, I think it's a little bit fairer and clearer to do a comparison between bare skin and the side with the foundation, so we know, you know, if there is any difference at all. Now obviously this has not covered any discolorations and dark circles at all, so I'm going to be going in with a little bit of my Tarte Shape Tape Ultra Creamy Concealer just around the eyes, so it's not going to affect any transfer when I put on a face mask later. It's a few minutes now and I think the foundation should have set, so I'm going to do a very quick transfer test onto the back of a sheet of tissue just to see if, you know, it's transfer proof like they say. So this is doing pretty well in terms of the very basic light transfer touch test, and we do have to consider the fact that this has so little pigmentation that maybe we're just not seeing a lot of it, but we'll give it a few hours, you know, with some heat, some sweat, a little bit of humidity, and maybe a little bit of oil. We'll check in at the end of the night and do this again and see if anything transfers off. Now, there is an argument against transfer-proof foundations in the sense that, you know, you're going to be applying the rest of your makeup on top of this, your concealer, your blush, your bronzer, your setting powder. So if those are not transfer resistant, they will still transfer off onto the back of your face mask, you know, on your shirt, whatever it is. So what's the point of something like this? Now, I do have one argument in favor of products like this, in the sense that it does cling on to any makeup that you apply on top of it a little bit better. So the lasting power is going to be a bit better than if you were applying them on bare skin or a regular non-transfer resistant foundation formula. Hope that makes sense. Anyway, before I ramble on too long, I'm gonna head off now and I'll see you at the end of the day. Hey folks, it is now 6:45, we are back and it's time to zoom you in for a closer look. Now I am pretty sweaty, although this wasn't a particularly warm day. I was sitting in the office doing some work for most of the day, and then I went out to grab some dinner, and this is just from maybe being out for about 1 hour or so. Again, I will remind you, this is the side of the face where I have the foundation on plus a little concealer under the eyes. On this side of the face I have nothing on most of my face and just the same concealer on this side as well. Now it's the same thing at the start of the day as it is right now. I cannot say that I see too much of a difference in terms of the coverage on this side. It pretty much looks like bare skin, although I know I have foundation on there. It's obviously not controlling any shine or sweat, but I want to point out that if I were to look really close, this side where the concealer was applied on top of the foundation has worn away a little bit more gracefully. It's not as creasy, skin looks a little bit more hydrated, whereas on this side there are just more visible folds if I were to look really close. I don't think it's that visible on camera under the lights, but just in terms of the texture when I'm staring at myself in the mirror, this side definitely looks a little bit nicer. So what I'm going to do as a final test, just to be 100% sure that the foundation is really transfer proof, and it's not just the fact that there is hardly any coverage on my face at all that's resulting in no transfer, I'm going to be wiping my face down. So yes, there is some pigment, and the foundation has done a pretty good job of not transferring off until I rub really hard. So the conclusion on the transfer test is, yes, this is a very transfer resistant formula. It does cling to your skin very well to, you know, regular wear and tear, rubbing around or touch. It's not going to come off easily. If you were to apply a tinted powder or concealer, blush, bronzer all that kind of stuff on top of this, those are still going to transfer off onto the back of your masks. So it wouldn't make sense to buy this for its transfer proof properties if you're going to be applying other stuff on top of it that is not transfer proof. If you have relatively good skin and you don't need a lot of coverage, you don't need a lot of makeup, you just want something that you can just smear on, get out the door and not have to worry about it smearing or coming off on the back of your face masks, on your collars, your sleeves and all that, then this may be a very good option. Makeup Forever claims this is for oily to normal skins. Now, I have dry skin and this felt really comfortable for me all day. It is pretty hydrating, and I think ultimately it is so lightweight that it's not going to make your skin feel greasier or drier, regardless of what kind of skin type you have. Where I think this product really excels is in giving a very even sort of texture to the skin all over. Now, I do have shinier areas on the central portions of my face and really dry and dull areas in other parts. This one just sort of evens everything out and gives me that same luminous polished glow all over, which I really like. Now, who this is not for: if you're going to be applying this and then going on with lots of concealer here, there, everywhere, that's going to transfer, that's going to look like makeup on top of your skin, so it may not be the best reason to go for something like this. Also, if you're someone who's looking for versatility, meaning you want something that can be sheer one day and then built up to medium or even higher coverage on another day, this is not that product. With most face and body foundations, you have the option of just going on with a second, third, fourth coat to build up coverage where you want it. With this one, I've tried it several days and with different tools, my fingers, a brush, the sponge that came from Makeup Forever for this foundation, and I just was not able to build up a lot of coverage. Basically, all the excess pigment would just come off. All I can say is this is really for someone who wants a tint. You want minimal coverage, minimal look and feel of makeup on your skin. It's not going to give you that kind of flexibility that some makeup artists or makeup users want, where you can just adjust the coverage level yourself. That's not going to do it. And I think that's all I have to say about the Watertone foundation from Makeup Forever. If you guys have tried this, if you have a different experience, or you have some comments to share about your experience, please let us know in the comments below. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video.